right now on To the Point.
A California state senator and officials within Sacramento County are at odds over a bill that's supposed to address the homelessness issue, what they're saying and how they plan on moving forward.
They were blowing up the bombs at 3 o'clock in the morning.
One city's crackdown on illegal fireworks results in hundreds of violations and citations now in mailboxes. 2 weeks after the deadly explosion in Esparto, a pyrotechnics expert raises questions about what could have caused the blast.
We want to bring education back to the states.
The Supreme Court sides with President Trump on Department of Education cuts. Could it clear the way for dismantling the federal agency? Thank you so much for joining us on To the Point. I'm Alex Bell. What was supposed to be a piece of legislation to address the homelessness issues turned into be a heated debate between city and county leaders and a California state senator. Critics say Senate Bill 802 won't solve the problem at hand. ABC's Tenji Nguyen shares their concerns and the response from Senator Angelique Ashby.
Quite frankly, this is not the way to legislate.
A lack of communication and collaboration. That was the theme of Tuesday morning's press conference with Sacramento County and city leaders.
Senate Bill 802 will create much more bureaucratic barriers to addressing the issues of homelessness.
Introduced by Senator Angelique Ashby, Senate Bill 802 would restructure the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency to a joint powers authority, renaming it to the Sacramento Area Housing and Homelessness Agency. The new agency will be governed by elected officials in Sacramento County and the cities of Sacramento, Folsom, Elk Grove, Citrus Heights, and Rancho Cordova. Initially, all jurisdictions impacted opposed the bill, but Folsom Mayor Sarah Aquino says the last 48 hours have been filled with late-night negotiations, resulting in a no-show from Elk Grove, Rancho Cordova, and Citrus Heights. Mayor Aquino also suggesting to turn this bill into a 2-year deal.
It was an hour-by-hour, almost minute-by-minute negotiation. 7:30 last night. I would have thought I would have seen all of those cities here. By 11:30 p.m., it was clear that Folsom would be here today.
Elk Grove Mayor Bobby Singh Allen tells ABC 10 she now has a neutral position to the bill following these negotiations. But Sacramento County Supervisor Pat Hume says there needs to be more amendments, saying the county is already doing similar work as mentioned in the bill.
We are looking at a different framework for a coordinated homelessness council that would involve all of the electeds from the different agencies, as well as the continuum of care, as well as SHRA.
In response to the pushback, Senator Angelique Ashby says she's not surprised, but changes do need to happen. She says that she is open to making amendments to the bill so that Sacramento County can finally see solutions to the homelessness issue.
I've taken so many amendments that the document looks like a rainbow full of colors of changes, which I'm very proud of. This is no pride of authorship.
Even though she is open to amendments, Senator Ashby has a strong response to the idea of delaying this for an additional 2 years.
The idea that 2 more years on top of the 20 years we already spent working on this is ridiculous.
At the state capitol, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
And SB 802 will go before 2 assembly committees tomorrow, and amendments mentioned in the negotiations between these multiple cities will be announced during these committee hearings. It's something that we will continue to follow. And now to breaking news in the investigation into the deadly Esparto fireworks explosion. The state fire marshal has suspended the pyrotechnic license of Kenneth Chi of Devastating Pyrotechnics and Craig Cutright of Black Star Fireworks. The two were identified in conjunction with the facility. The news comes tonight as it marks 2 weeks since the Esparto fireworks warehouse explosion where 7 people were killed. Drone video shows a new fence surrounding the explosion site, now just a pile of debris and ash. And the investigation continues into what caused the blast. We spoke today with the leader of the American Pyrotechnics Association. She has been closely following this story and says the video of the explosion raises questions for her.
I thought the blast looked far more energetic than just professional display fireworks. It looked like it had almost a fuel or another source to it, because we saw a lot of smoke and fire before the big blast. Were there raw chemicals? Chemicals that you might use to manufacture fireworks.
She says the whole fireworks industry nationwide is looking at the Esparto blast to see what might have been preventable. Tonight, we are also learning power is back on for 18 PG&E customers in Esparto who were impacted by that explosion. And this was a common scene across the region during the 4th of July weekend. Illegal fireworks kept firefighters pretty busy with 300 calls for fires in one night. Officials say people were seen lighting fireworks near dry grass and vegetation and in neighborhoods where they can land on rooftops and businesses. And in Citrus Heights, a crackdown by police this 4th of July aimed at sending a clear message. The city handed out more than 300 fireworks violations and over $300,000 just in fines. ABC 10 Luke's Cleary has more.
If you were in the Sacramento area the night of the 4th of July, this is probably what you saw. Illegal fireworks. They erupted on this street too, in Citrus Heights, where Robert Charles now lives.
Just moved in here, and then 4th of July comes along and...
Boom. Boom. That's exactly what it was. Boom, boom, boom.
In the light of day, the evidence is everywhere.
You look on the ground and you'll see lots of debris and litter from detonated fireworks. And on this cul-de-sac in Citrus Heights, at least 3 people received citations.
CHPD says 2 20-year-olds were cited here for illegal aerial fireworks and a 22-year-old cited for being the social host. Charles says they had it coming to them.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. They were blowing up the bombs at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It was part of a citywide crackdown that resulted in over 300 separate violations and over $300,000 in total fines.
I want to thank the police department for their great work on fireworks night.
The mayor pleased with the outcome. Earlier this year, City Council increased penalties. Fines can now rack up per firework deployed. And property owners can be cited regardless of who physically ignited them. Police used additional patrol units in the field and drones to pinpoint where the fireworks were coming from. Back on Pompey Court, where Charles says the illegal impromptu display went overboard.
Yeah, way overboard, and it's unnecessary too.
He now hopes the citations going out in the mail make people think twice next year.
Now, anything can happen with dangerous fireworks that are not controlled.
In Citrus Heights, Luke Clary, ABC 10.
And a full breakdown of the enforcement effort is expected on August 13th when the Citrus Heights Police Chief presents it to City Council. And we do have a streaming special right now on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. It's called California Wildfires, Preparing for Peak Danger. We hear from wildfire survivors, talk to the Red Cross about how to prepare for evacuations, and much, much more useful information. You can always download the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app straight to your TV. Well, a funding plan for Sacramento's Railards Development has hit a roadblock. City officials say there have been enough protests to stop it from moving forward. And this is a huge development project covering 244 acres of land. The $325 million plan would build new housing units, hotels, offices, a Kaiser Permanente medical complex, and retail space. Now, several residents are protesting the project with support from a local union, Unite Here Local 49. Residents are demanding more affordable housing be included in the plan, among other things. According to city leaders, residents submitted enough protest letters to legally pause parts of the financing plan for the project for at least 1 year. And Unite Here Local 49 sent us a statement in part saying, quote, "We hope the developers and city will now listen to demands for more affordable housing, a grocery store, displacement protections, and more, and bring back a deal that is good for ordinary people, not just a place for people who can afford luxury apartments." The Public Financing Authority has until next Tuesday to certify the results. Meanwhile, Sacramento Mayor Kevin McCarty says they plan to break ground on the Railards project very soon, with the new soccer stadium now going through the city's planning and permitting process. And city leaders say that they are looking for other ways to support the project, something we'll be keeping our eye on. All right, coming up next on To The Point, the Coast Guard and a local leader on a mission to clean up a big toxic mess in the Delta. Plus, a warning tonight about the increase of meth entering the United States and how cartels are getting more creative.
And temperatures today were really not all that bad, but tomorrow we bottom out. We're in the mid-80s in Sacramento, low 90s elsewhere. Forecast after the break.
But first, another headlines. Crews fighting a wildfire that destroyed the Grand Canyon Lodge are now focused on stopping the flames from destroying nearby cabins and mule stables. High temperatures and strong gusty winds are adding more fuel to the flames. There have been no reported deaths or injuries so far, but the North Rim will remain closed for the rest of the year. Torrential rains caused major flooding in New York City. Flash flood warnings were issued across the New York City metro area just last night. Subway stations flooded. Central Park recorded just over 2 inches of rain in 1 hour, and that's their second highest hourly rainfall total on record. And in New Jersey, at least 2 people were killed after their car was swept into a brook during flash flooding. And music icon Beyonce is hoping police can find whoever stole her music that hasn't been released yet. Thieves reportedly broke the window, making off with 5 hard drives containing watermarked music, some unreleased music, and plans for her show, plus past and future set lists. Cleanup is underway in the delta of a 153-foot abandoned military minesweeper. This is in the Potato Slough northwest of Stockton. Congressman Josh Harder pushed for the removal of the vessel that's leaked up to 2,500 gallons of fuel into the delta and is still leaking. Harder secured special funding for the removal and is leading legislation to prevent future large-scale sinkings. All right, let's get over to meteorologist Brendan Minchef with a look at our weather. It was actually pretty nice out today, right?
Yeah, it was pretty nice out there. Nowhere near what we had to start last July, where we were basically triple digits for the first half of the month. Today is 87 in Sacramento, 93 Stockton, 94 Modesto, 95 up in Oroville. And remember, on Monday, we were pretty close to the triple digits. So not only was it cooler than yesterday, it was also cooler than average for many places. It's now 82 in Sacramento, 87 in Stockton, 92 in Modesto, 87 in Jackson, 91 up in Colusa, 81 in Truckee, 79 in South Lake Tahoe. And we have a very nice Delta breeze this evening, about 15 miles per hour across the valley, closer to 25 out through Vacaville and Fairfield. And we're seeing gusts of 25 to 35 miles per hour across parts of the valley and Delta. We're going to continue to see this breeze overnight. That is going to introduce the potential for some marine stratus into the Delta and Valley as we head into the early morning hours on Wednesday. So when we're talking about 6, 7, 8 o'clock, you see some of those marine stratus here on the model working their way into the valley. I don't really expect it to be this widespread, but some marine intrusion into the valley is likely. And then it clears up pretty quickly. We're sunny Wednesday afternoon, and we could see a similar setup on Thursday morning with some marine stratus working into the Delta. Wednesday afternoon, 85 in Sacramento. Temperatures bottom out mid to upper 80s and some low 90s. 89 Stockton, 91 in Modesto, well below seasonal tomorrow for many valley locations. The average high in Sacramento is 93. We're closer to 83 tomorrow afternoon. Strong Delta breeze like we talked about today. Remains breezy through the overnight, and we see a similar pattern tomorrow with a strong Delta breeze. High pressure starts to move out. That's what's allowing temperatures to come down. A weak low pressure system off the coast of Baja is going to bring some monsoonal moisture up into the desert southwest. We'll likely see some showers and thunderstorms well to the eastern slope, but western Nevada. And then high pressure continues to stay away. So we're going to be looking at seasonal temperatures through the next week plus 80s and low 90s. And then next week, we're back in the upper 80s once again. A very wonderful mid-July pattern, Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Right after the break, Department of Education cuts are allowed to move forward. A look at the expected impacts on students. Plus, new tariff policies are starting to take a toll on the economy. A look at where shoppers are seeing the biggest price hikes. Welcome back in. The Supreme Court is giving the Trump administration the green light to move forward with cuts to the Department of Education. Now, education advocates warn the president's plan will severely impact students in low-income communities and those with disabilities. ABC's Christian Cordero has the details from Washington.
It was a promise he made on the campaign trail.
Your state is going to control your children's education.
Now, President Trump's plan for the Department of Education, tested and passed through the Supreme Court, can be put into action. States already administer their schools' curriculum and, along with local governments, are responsible for most of the funding in public schools. The federal Department of Education oversees billions of dollars that largely go to students in low-income communities and those with disabilities. It also enforces civil rights laws within school systems. And within the department itself, the layoffs of more than 1,000 workers paused by a lower court are now able to proceed.
We want, as you know, we want to bring education back to the states, take the federal government out of it.
The emergency Supreme Court decision gave no majority opinion, but Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote a dissent backed by the court's two other liberal justices. In it, she argues the unconstitutionality of letting the president decide the fate of a department created by Congress, writing, "The majority is either willfully blind to the implications of its ruling or naive, but either way, the threat to our Constitution's separation of powers is grave." Education advocates warn the cuts will leave vulnerable students without critical services, from special education to financial aid. The administration has suggested some of the DOE's core functions, like federal student loans, could be taken over by other agencies, like the Treasury Department. Education Secretary Linda McMahon celebrating the Supreme Court's decision.
I'm just incredibly pleased that the authority was reinstated where it should be. This lifts the handcuffs off of what we've been trying to do.
This comes as 24 states sue the Trump administration for withholding $6 billion in Congress-allocated funding. The grants had bipartisan approval, but are on hold because the administration wants to review where the money will go. The states are asking a federal judge to intervene. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Tonight, National Guard troops are leaving Los Angeles. The Pentagon said today it's ending the deployment of 2,000 troops sent to the city to deal with protests over the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Roughly 4,000 National Guard soldiers and 700 Marines have been in the city since early June. A warning tonight of an increase in seizures of methamphetamine. The DEA accuses Mexican cartels of trying to boost profits by attempting to addict more Americans to meth. The DEA shared this video of the drugs packed in the linings of cardboard boxes of cucumbers. Some meth was also intercepted from hollowed out watermelons, others mixed with celery and onions.
They just look like a normal vegetable crate. And they even changed the packaging and the shape of the kilos to fit underneath the cardboard where it was virtually impossible to detect.
The DEA is also seeing meth turned into pill form, which could make it easier for dealers to trick unsuspecting customers into becoming addicted to the highly potent substance. All right, let's jump into your price points tonight. Inflation rebounded in June to the highest levels in 4 months. The data is in line with what economists were expecting. Reporter Michael Yoshida has a breakdown of what this rise means for the economy and also your wallet.
Consumer prices heating up again in June, rising 0.3% last month, pushing the annual inflation rate higher to 2.7%. That's according to new data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
The best you can say about today is there was no bad news.
Tuesday's data was expected by most economists who have been anticipating the price effects of President Donald Trump's on-again, off-again tariff policies to begin showing some real-world effects.
The first serious set of tariffs went into effect in April, but they didn't affect goods that were already on a boat. So it takes a boat about a month to get from Europe or China to the US. It then might take another month to get through customs. That takes us through to June.
Reflected in the data, price hikes in a number of categories with goods from China, which are already exposed to higher tariffs, including computers and electronics, textiles, appliances, and toys. The cost of gas and food also on the rise, but due to their volatility aren't predictors of the larger economic picture. Still, Tuesday's report comes as the Federal Reserve faces increasing pressure from the White House to lower interest rates, but Wolfers says an increase in prices due to tariffs would make the move unlikely.
When the Fed gets worried that the cost of living is rising, it tends to raise interest rates. So if what you wanted was lower interest rates, you would try and keep pressure off the Fed.
Still ahead, funding for a big highway project is coming to Placer County. A look at the proposed traffic relief. All right, before we go here, some good news for commuters. Improvements are coming to a busy stretch of roadway in Placer County. Congressman Kevin Kiley was able to get funding to expand Highway 65 near Interstate 80, which will ease traffic for millions of drivers. The project includes an outside southbound third lane from Blue Oaks Boulevard to Galleria Boulevard. Construction is expected to be finished by December 2028. As always, thank you so much for watching and for always inviting us into your home. If you have something that you think me and the team should be looking into, you can always email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And don't forget, To The Point does not end here. If you ever want to catch up on any stories or shows that you missed, you can always download our free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app straight to your TV. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.